Hey guys, how we doing? Welcome to episode 11 of Speak Lit. Wait, hold on. 1, 2, 3. Hey, where's Big Man Grant?
Where is Craig?
Where's Craig? Craig?
Craig here?
Come on, Pod Craig.
Go on. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
What a little turncoat. How the turntables have turned.
How the turntables.
Oh god.
Stop playing that shit. I actually hate my life so much right now.
Tell you what, it doesn't feel good, does it, Sunshine?
You know what? See if I get.
No, wait. Before you get into it, tell people why you're wearing this fantastic, glorious, radiant green.
Firstly, it's none of that. Right. Secondly, fuck knows why I'm wearing it. You know what I mean? Like,
No.
I
What happened
just
yesterday?
I think like my life can't get any worse. Honestly.
That's why we've tried to make it better, mate.
Right, so for the people that don't watch SPL, Old Firm Derby was yesterday. Okay, it was Celtic at home against Rangers. Rangers basically needed to win the game to delay Celtic's eventual title parade.
Man said delay.
Am I wrong in saying that?
I think those were the correct words, man.
You're correct, sir. Thank you.
No,
correct word.
no,
I looked in the mirror this morning. I was practicing. But they fell short. 2-1, correct?
Yeah, it was too. You know what? We were 2-0 down. We're getting back into it, right? We've managed. Dessers scores, right? We managed to undo the fuck up that was John Lundstrom scoring an own goal. But man went, you know what? Nah. Oh, is our title challenge not dead? Right, hold on. Hold my beer. Let me fuck this up again. And get sent off. Like, how do you make it worse from an own goal? And now I'm stuck in green.
It all makes sense. Remember that guy that you met in Salford who said about John Lundstrom?
Oh, yeah, I was in a Tesco, like just buying like milk and shit. And this Sheffield?
Yeah, Sheffield United.
Yeah.
Fan came up to me and, oh, you're a Rangers fan, aye mate, aye. Oh, you've got John Lundstrom now. And I was like, yeah mate, we just signed him. Just starts laughing. Starts like I'm walking away from me backwards, like just laughing at me. I'm like, and he's like, you'll see. I'm like, what? And I'm like, oh. I don't. Wherever he is today, man, I hope his life sucks.
Well, he's a Sheffield United fan. They've got the worst. Like they're the worst Premier League team in history. 101 goals, 2 goals conceded.
Is that what they conceded?
Yeah, like they're relegated now. So
That's more than that's nearly 3 a game.
That is outrageous.
That is terrible.
Yeah.
That
I've never noticed
stinks.
a goal difference
I've always had to
in
ask you this.
Sheffield.
So Big Phil's been in charge how long?
10 months, maybe slightly less.
How many times you played Celtic?
Under Phil or in general?
Under Phil. Obviously in general was loads. Under Phil.
3,
How many wins?
0.
Is there a problem there?
Not really.
Does he need to get
I
sacked?
completely disregarding the way in which we played, how we played, and the fact that none of these this isn't his squad. Like, there's gotta
Surely though, if you go for a league title, you got to beat at least your competitors once. So I've been told.
Your
Yeah, like
only
you do.
competitor.
Your only competitor.
You do need to beat them once, which is why it's unlikely we're going to win the league, because we haven't beaten them. Like, yeah, fair enough. But what I'm going to say to all Rangers fans that are listening, like, yeah, it does hurt. Right, it does hurt.
How does
But we keep going. Do you know what I mean? And Big Phil I believe he's going to turn it around. I believe we'll win the Scottish Cup, although I'm sitting in the fucking Celtic top. And I believe that when he starts making the signings he wants to make, then I think we'll have a lot of success under him. So
We just said
ask? Sorry,
Go on.
mate.
No,
I
you
was going
go.
to say, yeah. So you said you're going to win the Scottish Cup, yeah? But based on the 3 games that you played against Celtic, based on how you performed,
yeah.
why do you feel like you're going to win?
Cook.
Well, I feel like we're going to win for looking at the performances in those games. Like, in that Old Firm just there, like we lost 2-1, right? But the fact is, as we were approaching half-time, we were getting back into the game. We just scored 1. We were starting to move momentum again, and then John Lundstrom gets sent off. Like, so then the second half is a complete waste of time. Like, it's going to be hard to beat Celtic, but to beat Celtic with 10 men is...
To be fair, we've watched all the Old Firms with you under Big Phil, and yeah, Celtic are not doing anything special. It's just you guys are just giving it to them.
We make the mistakes. Do you know what I mean? And you know, you could argue Celtic, force the mistakes, but
don't think they do.
The one at Ibrox, like the one where they scored after 30 seconds, Celtic did fuck all there. James Tavernier just decided to hit it off Maeda. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, what can you do there? But these aren't Big Phil's players. These aren't his team, and he's managed to get a trick out of them. He's got them to 2 finals. He's won one of them. I believe he'll win the other one. He managed to push Celtic to within the last 3 games of the season, having been 7 points behind twice, and he got to the last 16 of Europe. That doesn't sound like a bad result to me.
Do you agree with the referee's decision to send off Lundstrom?
I'm surprised. Yeah, 100%.
That was a red.
It was a
Well, I
red.
was even a yellow. It was straight red.
It was a red. He shouldn't have done it. It was a stupid thing. But also the way we were playing, like we were targeting the ball on to that side. We were trying to bomb down that side. We were trying to hit that flank. So why Lundstrom then decided to try and injure that player is beyond me.
I might not be right in saying this, but I think it wasn't even like the most dangerous of, like position for Celtic to be in. I'm sure they could have let him not just walk past, but I'm sure he could have done a little
They were
bit.
just going to hold it in defence, and it was
Yeah.
2-1, and we were near half time. I get getting caught up in the emotion, but come on, what were you gaining there?
Yeah.
Nothing. It was just so stupid, and that is John Lundstrom. Like I said to you, when I didn't think he could ruin our title charge anymore, man went, hold my beer, let me get sent off.
So was it just that game, or has he been hit and miss all season?
Yeah, there's been some points where it's like, do you actually know how to play football?
Okay, so now you said that. Do you agree with the lineup that Big Phil set up for against Celtic, knowing that you had people like Cantwell, Raskin on bench and stuff like that?
Yeah, but Raskin's not been a consistent performer either. This is what I'm saying. Like, is Raskin a better option than Lundstrom? It's hard to say at this point. A lot of Rangers fans will probably say, yeah, he is. And I'm talking nonsense because how could it get any worse? Mm-hmm. But the fact is, Raskin can disappear. And I get it. Lundstrom didn't play well, but he did actually all right against Kilmarnock. And Lundstrom can be good. He can be good when he wants to be, evidently.
Yeah.
Whereas Raskin disappears, and we couldn't afford to have a player disappear. So, do I agree with it? I think he played the best lineup he probably had. I was a bit surprised when he dropped Cantwell. But I don't mind Tom Lawrence, so... You're going to make noises for everything I say.
Yeah. No, I would have gone, Diomande says he's coming for you guys in, was it Jan?
Mm-hmm.
He's been quality for you guys.
Yeah, he's good.
I would have put Sterling, Dion Sterling
Didn't he
next
start?
to him. He started on the wing.
Both of them started.
But
Yeah.
like you said before off pod that he started on the wing to cover JT.
Well, he starts in the wing because he does play well there.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were playing him in the midfield at points. But yeah, it is.
I'd play him
he
at
can
the-
also cover James Tavernier where other players don't do that, and James Tavernier needs the cover. Like the own goal from John Lundstrom, while I think John Lundstrom should have
Should have
cleared
cleared
it,
it. Yeah.
James Tavernier is the one that let the ball in the first place.
Question on that, right? One of the things you said was, these aren't Big Phil's players, he can bring in his own players. Is there a question mark on Tav and his career? He's great up front, but, with all these mistakes, it's good, scoring these penalties and free kicks when
He can't get rid of Tav.
mistakes aren't that high. But if he's kind of when it comes to these Celtic games and he's making these mistakes constantly, is there a question mark to kind of maybe
JT
look for a
mistakes.
new right back?
So firstly, to say that he's doing penalties when the stakes aren't that high, we were 2-0 down to Celtic and he scored a penalty to make it 2-1 at Ibrox.
And then the free kick in the earlier one
And then
in the
he
season.
scored a free kick against Celtic at Celtic Park.
Yeah, well,
So, to say
he
doesn't
needed
step
to
up-
score that penalty
Yeah,
because
but
he
then-
let one the other at the other end.
Yeah, I get that, but to say that he doesn't step up in big moments isn't fair because he does. He's won everything available to him in Scotland. He's won the League Cup, the Scottish Cup, and the league. So, defensively, he is a liability. He always has been, but he outweighs that with what he gives us going forward.
It's a bit like Trent Arnold. Like most fullbacks are like that these days, and it's like he offers you so much going forward that he's not worth getting rid of.
Yeah, and you would be hard pushed to find a fullback that can give you both. One that's good at attacking, you wouldn't find they're typically good at defence, or vice versa. We've
Ben
set,
White.
Carl
we've
Walker.
set
Ben
up.
White, Kyle Walker this season.
We've set up. Again, you're talking about two of the best teams in the world. And again, like I said, you would be hard pressed. You've given me two examples who happen to be in two of the best teams in the world. There's a reason they're there.
I could spread them out throughout
Diego
the pod.
Darlo, my guy.
You're eighth.
Oh,
Anyway.
Reece James when he's fit.
So, not Reece James then, because he's never fit.
He literally came back yesterday and
I
Assist.
provided an assist.
yeah,
Yeah.
winning assist.
He came back for Chelsea 6 months ago and was out for another 6 months the day later. So
if Big Phil wins both trophies, is that amazing? Like, obviously, good start to the proceedings at Rangers, or
it's not a great return in terms of the fact that we won the league title. It is a good return in the sense of where we were under Michael Beale to where he managed to get us. To take us from 7 points behind, looking like we were going to bomb at every tournament, last in the group stages of Europe, to the round of 16, battling Celtic to within the last 2 days, last two games. Don't get me wrong, it's going to be a hard ask for us to win the league now. And then to come out with two trophies, which to be fair, he's not won the Scottish Cup yet, but I think he will. I would say that is a good turnaround for the season. Very good.
Let's go back to the JT, Tav. That Rangers team, you don't have many leaders or like people to step up. Once JT's gone, I don't know where I'm looking. Maybe Butland, but because if you look at the Celtic team, you had Alistair Johnson the right back, you had Cameron Carter-Vickers centre back, you've got McGregor in midfield. You've got people that like, okay, I've not got the armband, but I can still get the team going and stuff like that. With JT, I understand you're captain, but he's more of the way he motivates the team is if I'm balling, the rest will like follow suit. Because you get like you get people that are like, they're more effective by like, come on guys, ramp you up. But with JT, he's more of okay, cool, this guy is like,
example.
Yeah, lead by example. He's more like, I'm gonna do it, show you what I'm doing, and you guys reach me at that level, and let's go. With Celtic, you got players where they're not as good as JT, but because they can like ramp up the team, let's go. That's why I always think they've got the slight edge against you guys in old firms. And I think that's one thing Big Phil probably needs to look into. Like, right, I need people that like, you don't have the armband, but you're stepping up, as in you are one of the leaders of the team.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. I think it's definitely a mentality thing. Like, when you were to look at Rangers versus Celtic, if you were to hold the old firms in one section and look at the league performance, like in terms of every other team and playing against those teams, we've actually performed better because we shipped 9 points to Celtic in the old firm, but we're 6 points behind, which means we've actually performed better in every other area of the league out with old firms. And to me, it's not that Celtic are better. It's like you say, we have like this mentality block. And I think under Gerrard, we went through like a spell of like 2 or 3 seasons where we were winning the majority of old firms. And the only difference there is he instilled that mentality in the players that you can beat them. Do you know what I mean? You can go to Celtic Park and you can get the result. We had players that were performed way above what their station should be, like Nikola Katic.
So isn't that a failing on Phil that he can't do that? Surely he's part of his job as a manager isn't just to get the right players, but with the players he has, instill that mentality. So why can't he do that?
Not necessarily, because his job is to make sure the tactics are there, that make sure the players are set up to succeed, to do all those things. For him, his strength might not be that. Steven Gerrard's strength wasn't his tactical prowess or his ability to set up great formations. His ability was to motivate and inspire players to get more from them than what other teams would. It's why we won a league and then failed to do it every time thereafter as soon as he left. But then the second thing I would say is, but when a manager's good at some things, when a manager's good at making tactical changes or isn't afraid to drop those players or anything like that, then you need players, like he said, that are going to give you that mentality, that are going to give you that ability to want to fight and win those games. And I just don't think we have it. Like, James Tavernier isn't vocal enough to be that guy. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Jack Butland is probably the only player I would say yesterday that I saw actual passion to win it. Like, see, when the first one went in, Jack Butland's punching the ground, shouting at people like come on, we need to win this. And he was the only player I could say watching that was actually kind of like that.
Yeah.
So
I agree with everything you said, but what I would say is a manager's job is to win games. All right. So even, let's say for instance, even if he's not good at motivating players, a manager manages a group of not only the players but also a backroom staff. So typically the best managers, even if they're not good at certain things, like you heard about Alex Ferguson, he was actually that great at the tactical side, but he was great at man management. But he had people around who were great at that tactical side. So my question is, why hasn't Phil got people in place at Rangers where if he's lacking in certain places, like for instance, instilling a mentality where you could go and beat Rangers, okay.
So-
Sorry.
Yeah, I
Go
mean,
and
we
beat
beat
Celtic.
ourselves quite regularly.
He did it yesterday.
He's joined,
Yeah, I know.
he's joined midway through the season.
Yeah.
mate.
Yeah,
No, but
he's
he
still
would
got,
still
like-
no, but he still brings his
Yeah,
staff.
I get that, but
So my question is, firstly, I think any manager should be able to instill the
Yeah, 100%,
mentality
100%.
that you should be able to beat these big teams, especially if you're.
just to be
Yeah,
fair, I'm not
like-
saying he hasn't installed any mentality. Like, you don't get to the last round of 16, win a League Cup.
But you said he wasn't.
Get to the final
No,
of
I know, but
Scottish Cup and do all those things
what
without there
I'm
being some
addressing is
sort
the
of-
fact that he said that that's not his strength, and I'm like, if that's not his strength, he should then have people who can do that.
yeah, like big.
Because you're saying one of the things that's missing is that mentality. So if he's not instilling it, then get people who can, and even still with your players. Again, it's the manager's job to kind of instill that confidence in players where they're vocal on the pitch, make sure that people are together, they're unison, and they're shouting for each other, and they're like literally they've got some leaders in there which are vocal. Mikel Arteta, a lot of the leaders now that you have at Arsenal, it's not players that he's brought in, it's players that he's instilled that confidence in them to be vocal, like your Odegaards,
Gabriels.
your Gabriels. Those are players that you had before Arteta joined, and that's what he's done. So I feel like if Big Phil isn't doing that, he is lacking in a certain area then.
Yeah, but also look how long Arteta's been at Arsenal.
That was my point. Like, I agree with what you're saying, but you were asking questions about Odegaard when he first joined. He didn't just was a leader. He had to make him that over time. And it was still an Arteta signing. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Was Odegaard Arteta signing? I don't think it was.
No, we had one loaded. We made it permanent.
Yeah,
well,
30
so-
million, by the way.
anyway.
still.
But the fact is, he then made him that leader. And even then, the first full season he was there, people were questioning whether he was a leader. And then he became captain and he grew into that. Like, you have to remember, Big Phil's been there since what, October? Do you know what I mean? And you're saying, why has he not brought these people in? Because he's not actually had a full time to bring people in. He's managed to take a team that was 7 points behind, were not performing well in any area, and turned them into winners. Do you know what I mean? So I wouldn't say that he's not got an ability to put a mentality in there, but he's managed to take an average Rangers team, turn them into winners. So what could he do once he's got the chance to bring in players he actually wants to bring in? And even then, some of the players that he did do, so when he did try and change that, your players like Sima or Cortez, I don't think Sima was his signing, but Cortez and all these other players that came in, they then got injured. Do you know what I mean?
So you
So
think
it's
that
not like he had those players available to him anyway. So I think once he gets the chance to actually bring in the players he wants, when he manages to actually get them to the point of what he wants them to do, and is not just trying to get a trick out of Michael Beale's team, then it's going to be very different.
Yeah, but why is it some managers, they get manager bounce and they like straight away it clicks? And then why does it take longer for people like Big Phil? So for example, the
Crystal Palace man.
Chris Palace manager,
Yeah, but
like, he's already getting rumoured for Bayern jobs and stuff like that.
I'm
Like,
not saying it hasn't clicked. Like, all I'm saying is, in terms of the mentality in Old Firm games, like, he still won a League Cup. He still got to the last 16 and finished top of his Europa League group. He still got to the final of the Scottish Cup, which he may go on to win by beating Celtic. And he's still second, 6 points behind Celtic, going into the last 2 games of the season. Like, I'm not saying that he's had a bounce and then all of a sudden it's fallen off. And that's a mentality thing. Like, we're still performed and we still performed reasonably well. And that's the point.
If you don't beat Celtic in the final, do you think it will be a matter of like potentially, like what Amar said, tweaking this kind of not necessarily mentality, but kind of like the games against Celtic and trying to understand why we can't get the better over them? Having that been the 5th time you played them, maybe.
Yeah, I think if we fail to beat Celtic, I think it's going to, either way in summer, it's going to be we have to ship out a lot of players. You know, there's a lot of players that are in that team that shouldn't be in that team. Do you know what I mean? Lundstrom should go. Ryan Jack, arguably, I'd even say should go. Like, he's a good player, but he's never fit. We never have access to him. So it's a bit pointless. Ben Davies needs to go. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of players there that have came from, like, it's almost like a hangover from
Barisic.
the Gerrard era. You know, Barisic. These players should not be in that Rangers squad and shouldn't have been, arguably, maybe 2 seasons ago. But we've just held on to them. Do you know what I mean? And we've lost key parts of that squad. Joe Aribo's gone. Do you know what I mean? Calvin Bassey's gone. All these players that were great are now gone. But we've kept the kind of fringe ones that were okay, whereas they really should have went as well.
it's funny you mentioned that because
Oh, sorry, go on.
no, you carry.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, like, well, one of the kind of last things, I know we've spent a lot of time on Old Firms, which I'm not hating, mate, but we might have to move on. I was going to say, so are you saying the only thing that's kind of missing in terms of like you guys being really successful and hopefully challenging, not only challenging Celtic, but actually winning the league, you know, maybe doing trebles like they were doing, and maybe even a European Cup, is time for Big Phil? Is that the factor that you
I think so. Yeah, I think you just need to give him time. And that's what I was saying, you know, to any Rangers fan that is listening, like, just give him time. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can see it is going in the right direction. We are moving in the right places. We are starting to see success. Yes, there are mistakes because ultimately they are still Michael Beale's team. Now, you know, I'm not going to sit here and say, the successes are Big Phil's, but the failures are Michael Beale's, because losing to Ross County is unacceptable in any form. But then also, it's going to pain me to say it, but I don't want to be that disrespectful to Celtic, because Celtic have turned it around. Do you know what I mean? Like, they have played well. Like, they dismissed Hearts 2 weeks ago. They dominated us for large parts during the game, mainly the second half. But even in the first half, you know, when I think we were very evenly matched, I think there was points that Celtic pushed us back. So I'm not going to say that it's completely on the fact that we just don't have mentality in players, but still.
Perfect. Right. One person who doesn't need time is Mr. Ten Hag.
I love that transition. And just before you carry on with the Arsenal United game, I love when you're talking about, you know, some of those players that you stuck with that should have been gone a long time ago. Yeah. That is literally Man United's problem.
Yeah.
Oh, we got
it's
a
like,
bag of shite.
I'll put money on the line right now. I guarantee you'll see McTominay in a United top next season.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is, I wouldn't be mad at that because I feel like the way he's performed, he's deserved. Not as a starter, obviously, but you need role players. And I think he's a good role player. Like, he's proven to come off the bench and be able to score important goals, which we are missing. He could be like our modern era of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you know? So I'm not mad at that.
Clip that.
Yeah.
Clip that.
I know obviously he's not a forward, but, you know, he comes on and scores important goals. So he won't be mad. The ones that I would be mad
He's not
about.
the first I'd
right,
pick.
So
exactly.
what's your like thoughts on today's game, and then what's going on with United? Like, where'd you go from here?
So this is the very like kind of almost depressing thing is I was actually a little bit happy that we didn't get battered. I was just there like I already knew we were gonna lose, and I looked at that game and I was like, well, we didn't get battered, and that filled me with happiness. And I was like, as a United fan, to be stooping that low where a loss now doesn't almost. It's not the loss that actually makes me unhappy. It's the fact that we didn't get pumped. Yeah. The performance, you know, we did nothing with the ball.
It was a boring game.
Very boring game. I don't think we really had a shot on target. We had a shot at goal, but not on target. Oh no, we had that Casemiro one.
Yeah, I think we had maybe two shots on target.
Couple, did he not?
No, but they weren't on target.
There were shots.
I think there were 2 shots on target.
2 shots on target.
Yeah, they were like shots on target in the sense that they didn't challenge the keeper. He just collected it, but they weren't on target.
But no, during that game, there was no part of me thinking, oh, we got a chance. We're going to score here. None of that. And to be fair, you guys weren't great this game. I was looking at that game and I was like, if we were a better
team, don't get me involved.
No, I was pointing at you, Ray. But you guys weren't great, and I was thinking like, if we were a better side, if we were the like side of like let's say last year, we could have had you. But we weren't. We're not that side. And
I was waiting for that comment about we were great, because it's like when we drew against City. Okay. You need to look at the factors. Before we came to Old Trafford, the last 16 visits, we've only won 1. We weren't great, but I think the way I saw it was, this is a mature performance. The fact that, okay, we've gone 1-0 up, but then, like, okay, maybe when people were slipping, but apart from that, it was like, yeah, we could take the 1-0, still 3 points. It's not like, oh, crap, we're 1-0 up and, like, squeaky bum time. It was 1-0 up and, like, we could have still gone on to score more. We should have scored more. But the fact that we didn't, I saw it as more of a mature performance, because at the end of the day, you got 2 games left, anything can happen. You can win 5-0, you can win 6-0, 1-0. I just want the 3 points. So I'm sure that's what Arteta was thinking, like, keep a clean sheet, get the 3 points, we move. So I saw it as more of a mature performance. Like, obviously,
so you can't agree with me.
Yeah, personally, I want to. Personally, I always want to bat everyone, but end of the day, I was pause. And behave.
No, I didn't mean it like that. You did it like that.
But end of the day, like, yeah, I can't complain about performance.
You know what? You're saying it was a mature performance by Arsenal, but he didn't really need to come out of second gear today. Like,
That's what I mean.
that was probably the least challenged you've been in a while.
It's very
I'm not saying the least challenged in the season,
very managed,
but like
controlled.
the least challenged you've been in a while. Like, you kind of Man United, you had little moments, I guess, but really Arsenal did a good job of just taking the sting out of it, like just getting there, getting the goal, and then just kind of controlling the game and seeing out the rest of the minutes, which is why we're talking about it being boring. Like, to be fair, Arsenal, Arteta's message would have been, let's just take the sting out of it. Don't get the crowd behind them.
Yeah.
Don't let them get running at you. Let's just deflate people.
Because we learned
And
that
that's what they did.
last season when we were 2-0 up at Anfield. And then we were just like, we're getting like, this is great.
And they brought it back.
I remember coming to yours to watch the rest of the game and we were like buzzing. And then obviously Xhaka squares up to Trent and then it just riled up the crowd and stuff like that. And then we just dropped, we drew 2-2. I was like, I'm sure that would be playing Arteta's mind, like, boys, we got the goal, right? We're in control. Just ease up.
Sometimes
Just like
the
cruise
power
control
of-
it, you know what I mean?
The power of the Old Trafford crowd does get forgotten sometimes. Like, they can take a very poor team and manage to motivate them to want to do really, really well. But I think teams have gotten really good at being able to take the energy out of Old Trafford, being able to silence the crowd, and it becomes a little bit more of, thank God we just didn't.
All
get
it takes is Garnacho.
I don't think it's the teams. I think the only team that's taking the energy out of Old Trafford is Man United.
Yeah, but I've got a
The
question.
performances-
Yeah, well,
It's a
yeah.
bit
If
like
you look at the way we're performing, the crowd are like, oh, okay.
your problem as well is similar to like Rangers when they go to Celtic. Like, obviously you got Bruno as your, I'd say leader, not captain, but like who's there on your club? Like,
Then you mean the other way around, captain, not leader. Like he's our captain.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
don't
but he's
think
not a leader. Yeah.
yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
so like he wasn't there today. Like, who we looking at to? And that 11 there, just there like,
Yeah.
rah.
No one.
Who do you think, John?
No one.
You know what I mean?
Not
Look,
one.
if you look at the
Who-
Fergie teams and
I
stuff
guess
like that,
who would
anyone
you
could be
say-
it. Like
who would you say is the big leader in City? Because I wouldn't say Kevin De Bruyne is a
in City.
big leader.
It's Rodri,
I'd say,
it's Diaz.
yeah, Rodri or Diaz maybe.
They're
probably
really
do
difficult.
leadership through how they play, and like they will play well. They'll
Yeah,
kind
so
of
De
lead from
Bruyne,
there, so-
De Bruyne leader.
But I wouldn't necessarily say they were like
I'd-
grabbing people, saying like fight
Oh,
for
have
the
you not
jersey,
watched-
passion kind
No,
of.
no.
thing.
Have you not watched the Treble documentary? It's a really good insight. And it's
Rodri.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rodri's always so vocal. He's always the one who's like in a huddle, like getting them riled up. Same with Diaz. Same with Carl Walker. They've got various leaders. And I think Pep's really good at that. He said in the documentary, like sometimes he doesn't even want to speak. He wants it to come from someone in the team because it's different when it's someone in the team because if he's always doing it, they just expect him to kind of give that motivational speak. But if someone from the team showing that passion, then it just comes with a different energy. So they have that in City, and I don't think we have that.
So what do you think that the problem has been at Liverpool then? Because obviously you would imagine they would have players that are being like that, but Liverpool are already out of it. Like confirmed they can't even get second.
I think what the problem that happened with Liverpool is they've had a lot of key players leave, number one. Number two, the ones that have come in, some of them haven't worked out as well as they probably wanted it to work out. Like, for instance, Nunes. I think he's going to... Darwin Nunes, yeah. I thought I'd said something wrong. I think he's going to be a quality player.
But still.
Yeah. I think he's going to be a quality player. Like, I look at this man and I'm like, you've got literally everything to be a top striker. I think a lot of it has been unlucky. But I think it's also the fact that he's such a hothead. I feel like moments in the games where obviously he has a chance to score and misses. And I think he's good at keeping calm. But then if a player like sort of rattles him, loses his head.
Okay. There's been a comment from Ten Hag.
Ten Hag, Fabrizio said, when you're missing 7 starting players, we are competitive with one of the best teams in the Premier League.
Shut the fuck up, man. Like, honest to God, I want him gone. I want him gone. Like, the thing that I hate about speaking about it is people say, okay, who do you want in? The manager market is so fucking, like, limited. Like, it's almost like, how do you get rid of him? Because who is going to come in and, like, do something? Do you know what I mean?
But then this is
Tuchel's available.
Hansi Flick.
This is another question that I have then, because you've been you're at 3 finals in the last 2 years. Do you know what I mean? You've won one piece of silverware and you may win another one. Like, is he not instilling winning at Manchester United again?
But I'm sure we're on course for our worst league position since Ferguson as well.
Yeah.
But he also got you 3rd last year. And don't get you wrong,
Massively overachieved, though.
While I believe that he does use injuries as an excuse at some points, that there was a stat today. They've had 13 different centre back pairs.
Yeah, 14.
Yeah.
14, which I
Compared to
think is
Arsenal's
more
3.
than any other team. Like,
Yeah.
you ideally don't want to change your defence at all. You ideally want them to be solid, and then you tweak other areas. He's had to make 14 centre back changes. You had Casemiro at centre back
And
today
Johnny Evans.
Hold on. So
against Arsenal.
I get the
Like-
change. I get the changes and stuff like that. But if we're looking at Ten Hag's time in general, like last season, you had a good squad that went to Anfield. He still got pumped. It's like I get it. Like, oh, we don't have the players to keep going out and stuff. Newcastle, Chelsea have got players out, and there's still last
Yeah,
13
but Chelsea's
games.
only recent.
Yeah, but last 13 games, they managed to turn it around. Now they go for Europe. Like, teams can do it. How long are we going to be like...
But would you not say Chelsea's squad depth is better than Man United's?
Squad depth.
Yeah,
100%.
I would say so.
Yeah, they spent $1 billion in
So
that.
yeah, like they
Newcastle
have injuries,
still-
but they
Newcastle
have players that
picking
can
up wins.
replace them.
Yeah, but
Like,
Newcastle, all these teams have struggled as well.
Yeah, I know
And
they've
their injuries have been bad, but not as bad as ours. Maybe Newcastle's rivaling, but
Yeah, but even if you had your full 11, are you happy with that team you got?
Yeah, but if you,
I'll say this: am I happy with it? There's certain key areas that we need to change, but it's a squad that can.
Yeah, because hear me out. Like, your full 11, you have Rashford start. He'd have Rashford started.
Yeah.
But it was Rashford, like, when you did have your 11 at the start of the season, has Rashford done this season? So you can have your full 11, but then I'm like, okay, great, I got my full 11 back. This team is still not that great.
If you were to look at that team and say how many would you keep moving forward as a project, probably no more than about 3,
Keep it moving forward. I'll keep it on Onana, Martinez,
maybe
Yeah.
4. No,
Mano,
Dallo,
Fernandez, Dallo, Hoyland 6.
Garnacho.
Oh, sorry, Garnacho.
7.
I'm talking more like the younger ones.
But if
Obviously,
Manny came
Fernandez
to
is
Fernandes,
approaching like nearly 30 now, so I'm talking more
yeah,
like
but I think you
Oh,
can
yeah,
still do
so-
it in your.
Oh yeah,
They have
100%.
they have come out and said that with your team, it's Mano, Garnacho. You got another young suck, you forgetting. They're untouchable. Hoyland.
Ahmad Diallo as well.
Nah, I don't think, no, Diallo wasn't on that
He's
list.
not untouchable, but like he would be. You will keep him.
He
I
spent
don't
a-
know. We keep learning him out.
He spent a lot of money on
We
him.
learned
as
him
well.
out to you boys.
Because
How was he?
He's an arsehole.
He
They only
like-
turned on
I
when you
actually,
realise,
like,
oh,
the
crap, we
fact
haven't been
is,
final.
man didn't want to try. Man thought he was better than Scottish football. Then saw we're getting to a European final, and all right, let me just start cooking. Like, nah, fuck off. Head back down south to Manchester United, right?
You know when we was talking the other day, and you mentioned about like this whole 115 stuff.
Oh,
I don't honestly, I don't believe what I've seen, but apparently, so there's been an article going around saying that is it. I'll let you speak because I think you've seen more than me.
Find it. But basically, it's
I'll
more.
let you speak. I let you still speak.
It was about an off what was it now? It was
Off-court settlement.
off-court settlement based on the 115
Yeah.
alleged charges that they've been
Why?
guilty for, not guilty for, whatever you
So
want
obviously
to
not being
believe.
confirmed, but there's loads of reports coming out saying like, "Come on, lads, let's not do this in court. Just come on."
You know what's crazy about that? A lot of the 115 charges are to do with overpaying for players or wages and stuff like that. How is it a punishment for a team with almost unlimited resource to settle out of court by just providing money? Like, it's almost like they're getting out of it by the way that they've got into it. It's so backwards and so corrupt if they're allowed to do that. And if I was another Premier League team seeing that they're allowed to settle it out of court, I'd be there like, you have to give me an explanation of why you, especially, I mean, like the Evertons who've had points docked.
Forest.
And then also Forest. I would be suing the Premier League. I'll be there like, how are they allowed to settle out of court? But with us,
yeah.
it's just straight points.
You got to remember as well, say you're like a team like City got relegated. Okay, cool, all our stars are gone. But we're that big to just bounce straight back up. Everton Forest, we go down.
Yeah.
Could you 100% say we're coming straight back up?
Exactly.
Because even Leicester, even though they won the league, they were looking a bit ropey at times. Like,
Yeah.
hey, yo.
Leeds challenging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Leeds
just-
aren't even guaranteed they're coming back up yet.
No, it's 0-0 first the playoff.
First leg, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And you would say Leeds is probably one of the stronger championship teams.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
They got like, you know, their stadium is like, what, 50,000? Ellen Road?
No, absolutely not.
Is it not?
No.
Do you know they get high? Okay, I know this is true.
I think it's only got one stand that's big.
What, Ellen Road?
Yeah, it's not a huge stadium.
Let's have a look. I'll have a look
Have
at
a
that.
look.
Like, it's definitely, the capacity's not that big.
It's at least 40.
One is going to
No,
be
it's
right. Let's
not.
put it
How
that
much
way.
do you reckon? Okay, how many do you reckon it's going to be?
25, 30,
No
maybe
way, it's
at
going to be
most.
more than that.
You searching it?
Yeah, I can get it.
Ellen
on
Road.
flash
Ah, actually interested to know.
37,890.
Yeah, only about 13,000 off. What's 13,000?
Among friends. Man's got scaffolding outside to boost the numbers. Apparently Rangers are going to try and increase Ibrox Stadium from 51,000 to 60,000 by 2030.
Don't know what you're gonna say. 51 to 52. I'm sorry.
Nah, but like, I don't know how they're going to do that, but that would be exciting. Anyway, I'm just adding that in.
So back to the City, right? How would you punish them though? Because like we've had this talk before, where like you can't say you're scrappy from your titles because the fans have lived it.
No, they can have
You know,
the title.
I've actually thought about this, right? I thought, what would be a punishment to actually make City
I think you
notice?
mentioned this.
Because, like, point deductions in one season, right? Okay, it cost them one league. Cool, but they'll just carry on doing what they're doing. Do you know what I mean? Or anything else that kind of goes into that. So the way I would look at it is, if you were to charge City for each individual one, depending on what those cases were, like, that would never work. So what I would look at is, firstly, I would do 10-point deduction for 6 consecutive seasons. Now, the reason for that is if you were to look at the last 5 or 6 City have won, 3 or 4 of them have been by, what, between 1 to 5 points?
Yeah.
So you're taking 4 league titles potentially off them by just doing that point deduction. And then the second thing I'm saying is, if you've spent all this money to attract players that has got you European football, you're also not getting European football.
As in, like, you can't take part in it
No,
no matter
but
where
You're
you
not getting into the
Yeah,
Champions
but-
League.
I get that, but then if you look at it this side, I'm like, if I'm Pep, I'm right. So we can still try, and obviously we won't win the league because we're minus 10 points. I'm just gonna go heavy in the Europe and like,
You don't have Europe.
oh no, Europe.
Nope.
You'd ban them from Europe.
Yeah.
I'm winning
that's a bit
doubles.
tough.
I'm winning doubles then.
Yeah.
But they've
Domestic
committed-
doubles.
Like, we're not talking about one.
But
or
hold
two.
on, but you can't-
They've committed 115 and dominated English football.
Yeah.
Like
but
Liverpool,
I'm stat padding FA
couldn't
Cups and
win
Carabao
2
Cups.
league trophies.
I think
At Arsenal, lost a league trophy. They're at the point where they're about to treble and four-peat your league, and they've done 115 financial.
So with
things.
that, yeah, that's why I would say that's why I wouldn't ban them from Europe, because most of their damage in terms of, well, when I say damage, it's like most of their like success that's come off the back of them breaking these 115 having these 115 charges is being mostly in the Premier League and within English competitions. So I'd say give them Europe, but yeah, sort of, have that 10-point deduction. One of the things that I thought would be like really good.
The only point I want to add to that, just very relevant, the only thing I would disagree with you on is by them finishing the top 4, who did they take a Champions League spot away from? Who then got denied the revenue that Man City took for being in that Champions League spot, having committed those crimes?
I'm sorry, Nick. You're minus 10 and you still finish top 4. Jesus.
They would though. City
Yeah,
would.
I know, but if you're the
But
team
then
that misses out because of City, yeah.
You then talk
Cancel your
about
club.
the prize money difference between first and fourth is significantly different. Do you mean it's still a lot, but it's not the same? Do you know what I mean? And even then, if they're sitting on a 10-point deduction, do the players have the same mentality to want to challenge the way they did? Do City still go on those incredible runs, knowing that actually 5 points again beating Arsenal doesn't mean anything because they're still 7 points behind? Do you know what I mean? Do they still give that same energy? Probably not.
And also players who want European football,
still
did
that.
they start like
Did-
jumping
did they
ships?
go?
Like, did he leave?
Because the first season you get minus 10, like a team like City, what's stopping them from saying, right, 38 games this season, let's try and all of it?
Yeah, but it's not going to
A
happen,
City
though,
team
is
as
it?
well. Like,
Yeah, but yeah,
pressure's off because we're not expected to win the league.
your top class players want to play European football. So that's kind of the point. Like, the biggest punishment you can really get is a point deduction that stops you winning the league and removing European football, because you were at an unfair advantage that got you European football, so you'll now be at a disadvantage that will stop you
But
getting
they've-
European
they've-
football.
won European
but I feel
football
like
now,
the
so
only
it's
problem with
like-
that is that you're completely then decimating the team, and you don't want to do that because you still want City to have some sort of redemption. So you don't want to completely destroy the team. I feel like if you did all of that, that's just the team done. That's why I would disagree. Even though your logic kind of makes sense, that's why I wouldn't still not. I would say give them Europe. Let
But
them have a chance.
But don't you think that's the opposite? Because let's say if Notts Forest went down, obviously off the back of the point deduction that they got, they get destroyed, they lose the manager, they fail to come back up to the Premier League again. But we just dismiss that because, they're in the relegation zone. Yeah, okay, that's fine. They got the 2-point deduction. Okay, just leave them to go down. But obviously because it's Man City, you're kind of saying it in the sense of like...
It's too big to fail.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
No, I'm not saying that. Well,
Man City's bringing ice to the Prem though as well. So
if
they're
you've
looking
well,
at-
yeah, that, exactly. So there is, you got to, as much as it's kind of not right in terms of like what rights and wrongs are. You do have to sort of protect the Premier League as a product.
Yeah.
And Man City is one of the biggest teams that bring eyes to that product. And you're still, people who are in these positions who've kind of, the Premier League have charged Man City with these 115 charges. They still have to think about what's good for the brand when it comes to punishing these bigger teams. I know it's not right, but that's why I wouldn't say having that severe of a punishment is great. I've actually thought up of a punishment that I think would be right.
They all have to wear
Flog them with belts.
See, I was gonna say you've actually kind of read my fear. I'll say right. City starting 11. Hear me out.
Oh jeez.
Slap the United badge.
Get on their coach. Take a trip to Trafford. Yeah, Old Trafford.
Smoke them 6-1 again.
Get out. Take the City tops off. Put a United top on. Play for United. Don't play for City. And
your wage structure is
players.
mental.
Your
wage structure.
It's already mental. What do you mean? Do you think we're playing?
You're gonna add Haaland
I wouldn't.
wage
I would.
to that.
I would. No. Ship our players to theirs.
Okay.
Yeah. So do a little.
I thought you just have a Manchester.
No.
Pep would still get them finishing above.
Can you imagine if he did that? Just all hail him as the greatest manager that's ever lived. Not even the greatest manager, just the greatest, just human. If you get our team winning the Premier League as City players, congrats, Pep.
The 115 though as well. The reason why you said 10 points for next 6 seasons minus 10. Not all the charges equal the same because they were saying some might be monetary value, some might be
I'm
points.
bunching them together.
So it's just like
so I'm not going to take 100.
Yeah, so it's just
1,500.
That's why it's taking so long. So Everton fans are like, you see on like social media, so Everton fans are like, oh, but City not got caught. I'm like, yeah, because they've done 115 over a long period. We can't just make a decision like that.
Do you think they'll ever get caught? Do you think they'll ever be paid the price?
I think it's too spoken about to ignore it now.
My issue and why the Premier League is an exciting league, while it pains me to say this, is because the fact is Leicester could win it. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was unlikely, but it happened. Do you know what I mean? And that's why it was exciting. You know, those points where Spurs were challenging, then Arsenal was challenging, then Liverpool were challenging. If City managed to just buy their way out of this, right, they are at danger when you're talking about protecting the Premier League as a product. They're at danger of completely destroying English football because they are dominating your league right now, right? Because they're committing these crimes. Leicester's never going to happen again. And it's for teams like City are the reason why that's never going to happen again. Because they'll never fall the way. And if they're allowed to just do whatever they want and spend whatever they want, the gap between your top 4 and the rest of the league will just keep getting bigger. Because today it's City, tomorrow it's City and Newcastle. You know what? If City can do it, why can't Newcastle? So then all of a sudden they start spending loads. So then for the rest of time, you're the next Scottish Premier League where it's Man City, Newcastle United, battling out, and the rest of you are irrelevant.
So
they're not the only team with money.
The Leicester will happen again.
They're not, but they're not going to be able to spend. Like Arsenal's board, Liverpool's board, they have money, but they are not going to spend the same amount Man City are. And secondly, Man City just don't care. What I
would say though, because now they've been caught out, there's going to be Hawkeyes on. You've seen in the Premier League now, in terms of like, if you saw in the January transfer market, it was so quiet compared to what it usually is.
Yeah.
So I think now the teams are so aware that the FA and the Premier League have literally got Hawkeyes on how people.
They literally get.
So I feel like now everyone's treading lightly in terms of spending and being super smart, because previously they thought, no one's really checking out, but teams were like, let's just go ahead and spend.
Does that not mean then City's already done the damage? Because City have already done all the crimes. City have the ones that have spent all the money. They've brought in all these players. They brought KDB. They brought Rodri. They brought everyone. And now every other Premier League team can't go do the same.
And it's not going to stop. It's not going to stop. Like, they're just going to carry on.
And now they're going to be able to buy their way out of it.
Because they're going to get Lucas Paqueta. Maybe they'll get like Bruno Gomares.
Yeah, but even with those, but you know that City still can spend a significant amount of money because of how much they bring in. So even if they bring in these players, it doesn't mean that they're automatically breaking
the
FFPs.
rules is how they can now spend that money.
The thing is you say that they bring in, but like
you're at a position, and Arsenal are at a position, and all these other teams are at a position where the FA's not going to allow them to spend this money. So City are in an advantage now, and are now in a position where they will continue to be in that advantage.
I would probably say that we're allowed to spend comparable amounts to City.
Because
same as Arsenal.
Because you say they bring in money in, but that's only as of recently. Since they first started getting charged, since 2008 onwards, they weren't making the money they're making now. So it's like they can afford maybe now the fact that they can sell players. Like they never used to really sell players for like 30, 40 millions plus, whereas now they have sold like your...
They're so good at selling.
They've sold like your Sterlings, who else have they sold? Zinchenko, Jesus, your Cole Palmer. So like they are now starting to put money into players.
Do you feel like it's a case of the league should be more lenient on City to protect the brand of the Premier League and where the league's at, or do you think they should be harsher to protect the league to avoid the damage that City's already done to it? Which one do you?
100%, they have to be harsher, because I feel like the teams that are getting done maybe deserve, I don't know what you want to call it, a chance, maybe a bit more leeway, maybe a little bit more kind of scope to actually be able to maybe build the teams that they want, so they can maybe compete on the front end in the Europa Conference League, Europa League, Champions League. Like teams like Aston Villa, I don't believe, I mean, obviously we don't know the ins and outs of Aston Villa, but I don't really believe that they should be done for like FFP, or they have to be.
Why not?
Because if you look at the spending of Aston Villa versus the spending of Man City, and actually when you look at Aston Villa, they're not a small club, let's be honest, right? So they're like, I don't know what their stadium holds.
What if they? Well, my question then to that is, if they've actually committed some FFP, if they've actually broken FFP, shouldn't they be charged just like City? Because you can't say one for one.
What, City haven't been charged?
Yeah,
that's what I'm getting at.
He said that.
City haven't been charged.
But you're saying, but you want them to be charged, but then you're saying Aston Villa shouldn't be charged if you find out.
If City don't get charged, why the fuck should everyone else?
I'm saying, but my question is, in this scenario, you want City to be charged, yeah? I'm saying in your scenario, why wouldn't you want also? I know City haven't been charged, but
my point to answer that is, City have done this. So are they now forcing every other team to make the league still be competitive? Because if Arsenal want to be competitive, they had to spend 100 million on Rice. They had to do that. Do you know what I mean? So as now, because Arsenal are now having to do that, because Chelsea are spending billions, or Aston Villa getting forced into a place where they have to commit FFP crimes just to be competitive, just to get top four, just to get Conference League.
That's not City's fault though.
But it is, because City are the ones that set the precedent. They're the ones that went out and did 115 financial crimes. They're the ones that had the money, and rather than building it like everyone else should have, they thought, you know what, let's find a loophole
I'll
here.
say this.
And they've now made it where teams have to spend this to compete with them.
So it's not City's fault.
You're talking to City fan, by the way.
It's not.
Right.
No, I'm not talking to City. Yeah, you know, I'm not a City fan. But that in terms of like when it comes to spending money and everything, that is not City's fault at all. They're not the ones who've like been known to spend ridiculous amounts. That started way before City.
That's because what they've released have spent and what they actually have spent are two different things.
No, but in terms of let's just talk about transfers and everything. Honestly, that is not City. We were doing that started before even City got successful. When it came to like back in 2008 when Ronaldo went for like 80 million to Real Madrid. I think that's when it started, where the football market in terms of inflation for players was ridiculous. So that's pre City being successful. So I wouldn't blame that on City. Now you're right in saying that because some of the big teams, and it's not just City, it's us as well, it's also Arsenal. Because we do spend this ridiculous amount, it does mean Aston Villa does have to go and start spending ridiculous amounts as well to be competitive. But to blame that solely on City is completely unfair.
Well, where I disagree with you, and I'll let you add your point if you want to in a second, is like, let's take Man United.
Yeah.
When Sir Alex Ferguson took over, you didn't just start becoming successful. It took you longer than maybe 3-4 seasons to start winning the league title.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That was a project that took, 8, 9, 10 years?
Yeah.
Then you started winning things. Then you started getting trebles. Then you started getting really successful. So it meant that you'd brought in the money. You'd brought the sponsorships. You became one of the biggest clubs in the world. So you could spend that money. City skipped all that, spent the money to become the successful ones. You did it the opposite way around. You became more successful, so were able to spend more, so led to more success. City spent loads to be successful, and that's not the same thing.
Yeah, so what I was going to say was, if you used to look at the situation now with the Premier League, do you hands down truly believe that Man City keep winning year after year after year after year if there was financial fair play charges put on them, i.e. the 10-point deductions and all these kind of things, if they were treated fairly, like your Forest and your Everton getting charged, if everyone was treated fairly in terms of, if you spend X, this is what's going to happen, do you believe that they'll win it again and again and again?
No,
and
of course not. But my thing is, like, if you're going to do that, and I think City should be charged, I think there should be a punishment. My only kind of point when I was asking about the Aston Villa thing is, like, you got to be consistent. You can't say, right, I want City charged, but then I don't think Aston Villa should be charged. It's like, if they've committed some crimes, if they've broken FFP, charge City, and again, depending on the varying degree of that their what's it called, how much they've broke FFP. Yeah, you should charge City more, but it doesn't mean then you look at a smaller team who's just coming up but they've broke FFP, you don't charge them. I'm like, be consistent. If someone's broke FFP, whether it's Aston Villa, whether it's a Brighton, Bolton, whether it's Bolton,
Bolton. Man's going 2 leagues down.
Whether it's Man City, charge everyone. Just to think that you can only charge the top teams and then not charge the bottom teams, then that's just like, that would then be corrupt as well.
It's like saying if someone robs you and you rob something back, are you a thief? Well, no, because
that's a
the fact
bad
is,
example.
Well, it's not, because City have done something. They have bought their way into top 4. They've bought their way to success. So unless teams do that again, they're going to, like, let me ask you as an Arsenal fan, right? Last season you were challenging City, right? You couldn't go out and buy all these players that would have got you a league title. Like, if you could go spend another 70 million on a striker, but you couldn't because you didn't have the FFP. Do you know what I mean? You bought Declan Rice this year, which meant it limited what options you could do. Knowing that, and knowing that City are actually disregarding those rules, just spending money wherever they want, buying whoever they want, and as a result, you didn't win the league title. How do you feel about that?
Pissed.
Right?
But that doesn't mean you can't.
And then, therefore, if that's the case, and the only way for you to win the league, as an Arsenal board member, knowing that's the case, and the only way you could actually win a league and deliver success to your fans is to match what City's doing, would you expect your board to do the same?
Okay, but that doesn't but okay, even if they do the same, are you then implying that it should be one rule for one team and another rule for another?
No.
You are.
No, I'm not.
Wait. So wait. Okay, cool. You have to then do that. But then you're what I would say with that, you because one team's doing something wrong and you feel like you have to do it in order to compete with them. Cool. But then you can't then just say like, right, we're only gonna charge City and not thingy. And that doesn't. That's corruption.
No, you charge everyone that breaks the FFP.
Yeah, then we're in agreement. But my thing, I thought you were trying to say that it should only be City that gets punished if they're the ones if they broke FFP, because you were saying I don't think Aston Villa should get charged, and I was like,
because if Man City don't get charged, why the fuck should Aston Villa get charged?
Okay, I understand that. Yeah, I completely understand. But I'm saying like in what you want, you'd want everyone to be charged if they broke FFP.
I'm not saying Aston Villa shouldn't be charged. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the main culprit, the person that should be hit hardest.
The person who should be hardest
115 charges. They've consistently done it, and they've now forced others. Like if you're on a motorway and all the cars around you are going 90, it's dangerous for you to stay at 70. Do you know what I mean? Like,
but then your point,
it is reckless for those clubs to not, if they have the means to survive, if they have the ability to do it, when all the other teams around them are doing it, they are forced into a situation to do it. Man City's basically coercing the other teams around them to have to do it.
I don't think it's Man City.
Because if
not Man City.
If Guardiola stays in charge, it's hard to not see them keep on winning the league after season after season after season after season. Because best believe they're going to go spend money in the summer again, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, where does it fucking stop? Like, where does?
Well, if they spend money in this summer, just because they're going to have to spend money this summer, it doesn't mean that they're breaking FFP rules.
Yeah, but they've got the financial bank to outbuy any team in the Premier League. Like they can buy as many players as they want, and nothing ever happens.
And
we're complaining
like
now.
They are breaking the rules.
Well, we don't know if they're breaking them now. What I would say is, why is that now a point when we were able to do that for ages? And,
yeah, but like what he said, Man City have only just came about and started doing it. We've been doing
Chelsea done it.
We've been doing it for years. Man United have broken every transfer record you can believe over 30, 40 years, maybe even more than that. Like he said, like they had the infrastructure since Ferguson.
Is as soon as Chelsea did it, right? Chelsea found a loophole to get through because they're giving people 8-year contracts and stuff like that to spread.
No, I'm actually talking about what I'm talking about, Craig, is when Roman Abramovich came. That's because now they're not successful, so they've done it.
What were Chelsea charged with?
No, I'm saying my point was, so to kind of go back was, why is it now that City are buying these players, paying good money for these players is a problem when other teams in the Premier League have been doing that before? Because with Chelsea,
what City are saying they're paying and what City are actually paying are not the same thing.
I understand that. But I'm saying now if they go buy players, people are assuming that they've broke FFP rules. That's not necessarily the case because you're allowed to spend as much as you bring in.
Yeah, but this is the thing.
It's
They've
not that,
already
'cause-
done it.
Yeah,
so
it's
they
'cause
now don't have to do it because they've done it.
They've done the damage.
Yeah.
To get to the point where cool, we can just
Like we're talking about them selling on Jesus. We're talking about them selling on Zhivchenko. They're talking about them selling on all these other players.
Shevchenko.
Sorry.
Zinchenko.
Yeah, Zinchenko. Right. If they didn't break FFP, do they have those players in the first place to sell them? Probably not.
Yeah.
And that's the point. So we're talking about they're getting a great return for players, but they broke the rules to get those players in the first place. So yeah, are they breaking the rules now? Probably not. But they've done the damage. They broke them, so they now don't have to.
By the way, we are like, I know this is going to be a controversial point, but we're actually already just kind of gave them the verdict that they're guilty.
But
Oh,
they have been charged.
They've
with
been
it.
charged.
What do you mean? They've been charged 150, but it doesn't mean that they've appealed it.
Yeah, they've appealed it.
Yeah, so they've been
But the-
charged,
the
but they haven't.
verdict of that
But
hasn't
there
come
hasn't
out,
been
but
like there hasn't been like a
The FA
verdict.
has charged them with it.
But yeah, they've charged them with 115, but they haven't said. Yeah, they've said we think you're guilty. City have appealed it, so
It's under further
Yeah, so
investigation.
the FA
so there hasn't been a final
the,
verdict.
It's
the
a
FA
historic
has
thing they have to
said,
go through, like,
the FA
yeah.
said you are guilty, and City have went, no, we're going to appeal this.
Yeah,
But the FA have said they're guilty. It's now a question of whether the appeal wins or not. So as it stands, they are guilty.
Because City
They've
are not
just
just
not
gonna,
been punished because they've appealed it.
City are not going to admit it. Of course they're not. Of course they're not going to admit it. Of course they're always going to appeal
some-
it.
And even
teams
then,
have.
the damage is they've won a treble. They've won the Champions League. They did everything they wanted to do. So even if they do get found guilty, they don't care now.
If Man
I
City,
mean,
got
I
what they
think
wanted.
I don't think no. I think they would care because you got to understand when you buy a football team like Sheikh Mansour, he's not thinking of it just like, oh, we've won all these trophies now. We're done. We don't care. They know that if they get charged for these 115, if then a verdict comes about for these 115 charges and a punishment is applied, the severity of that punishment is probably likely going to be very high. Like a lot of point deductions if you look at what's happened with like Forest and with Everton. So he will very much care because the likelihood that he's then will be able to continually be successful is going to be very high. So
Let me
he will
ask you.
care.
You're the position United are in right now,
Yeah.
right? If you knew 10, 12 years from now, right? So you're going to have the success City have had, treble, all the league titles, everything like that. But you know, 10 years from now, so starting today, 10 years from now, you'll be sitting here with 115 charges sitting over Man United. However, you did manage to, it looks like they're going to four-peat the league. Not because Arsenal have flopped or anything, but just because I think they'll win the last
have,
two
yeah.
games.
Comanage.
So it looks like I know. It looks like they're going to four-peat the league. It looks like they're going to treble. Well, they did treble the Champions League. Everything like that. So knowing that Man United could have that success, but having 115 charges over you, would you be concerned about that, or would you take it?
It depends on what
Would you
happens
take it?
after
Would
this.
you take it?
Would you take it?
No, well, you can't. Don't force me into a box. You have to let me answer. So no, you can't just say, "Would you take it?" No. Well, it all depends on what is the severity of if I get charged with those 115. Because if it means if I then get charged with those 115 and I get relegated, definitely not. So it all depends on what the punishment will be if those 115. If I'm found guilty for those 115 charges, you can't just say, "Would I take it?" What? It all
Josh.
depends.
Same question to you. Would you take it?
no, I won't take it.
There we go.
Because you don't know what the punishment is.
Exactly that.
Right. Did you think Man City's going to get relegated?
No.
Cool. You would take it. If I was in Man United,
If I'm in City's position right now, I'm taking it.
100%.
I'm taking it. When they get done,
That's so
I'm
silly.
off.
That's such a silly. What if you got relegated then out of the
I
football?
tell you what.
What if they took Man City now to the Vanarama National League as a
exactly.
byproduct
Took
of
them to the Vanarama
115?
They're thinking,
Yeah.
I'll take it
That's-
without
that's
knowing
the-
what
that's
actual-
the
The fact
what
is, you know for a
consequences
fact City are not going to
Yeah,
end up.
they're
in
not
League
going
One.
Vanarama,
They're not
let's be
going
honest.
to. That's not going to
Talkers are
happen.
lying,
They're not going to end
But
up.
that's
in the
not what you
Championship.
asked.
But anyway, you know what's interesting? This is a good argument. Let's see what you guys think. Do City deserve a severe punishment? Are they to blame for
In
the
Ange we
situation
trust.
they're in? Will Ange beat them? Who knows?
2-0 Spurs, you had it here.
Cool.
See you later.
So, yeah.
Get this top off me.